Hello, welcome back. Tim Knight here, and it's another green day. We're continuing to get all those optimism fumes off of the ceasefire. It's funny because yesterday I lost a little when I should have lost a lot because of risk management. Today, being entirely short as usual, I should be losing something, but I'm actually having a great day. And it's not because I had like one lucky break, like somebody got bought out and so forth. Most of the shorts are down. And in fact, a lot of them are down to 6, 7, 8%. That's pretty cool. I've said it before, I actually would rather have a day when the market's up and my shorts are down. Distasteful as that sounds, but it just feels good to just spit in the eye of the bulls and still do well. So it's a good day. Profits are flowing, and that's even with the NQ is up, the ES is up, the RTY is up, YM is up. Everything's green. So if the day appears again that the market falls, this should be even better. So yeah, it's a good day, and we'll see what tomorrow holds. Of course, there's a tremendous amount of uncertainty right now. You know, we're, I guess, in day 2 of this yet another 2-week delay, which I expect will be met with endless 2-week extensions until January 2029. I'm just looking at the charts because you know what? There are things besides Iran that are going to appear from the mist. Earnings, for example, economic data, things that have nothing to do with the Strait of you-know-where. So let us jump into the charts and catch up with each other. And we're going to start with crude oil, which is a big market right now, of course. And it's up a little bit, a little more than 4%. It's been less insane than it used to be because things are kind of tenuously settling down. The funny thing is that equities are only a little bit below lifetime highs. And in some cases, they're at lifetime highs, whereas oil is still up 80% from where it used to be. It's like nobody cares. You know, people are breathing relief that it's 95 instead of 125, but still, people would have dropped dead in January if oil was suddenly $95 a barrel. So ain't much to read in this. It's maybe there's some energy experts out there having a ball with this. I've stayed far away from it. The NQ, and as I mentioned yesterday, there's kind of a mix. You've got some instances where things are still clean, gaps haven't been violated, trend lines haven't been broken, and so forth. Then you got junk like this, where we are deep inside enemy territory. The price is, if you think of it sort of 0 as the bottom of the pattern and 100 as the top, we're at like a 50-55 point here, deep into it. And that's because of all the life is good optimism out there. We won, and everything's going to be great. And we'll have a joint venture with these guys, which isn't going to happen. But there's a lot of, and this is the sort of strength I love to sell into. Because when the market was getting just raised to the ground, it was more and more uncomfortable to short because, like, you know, the prices are worse and worse, and like I've said so many times, one tweet could upend the whole thing. I'd rather have this situation where everyone sees unicorns and rainbows and is prancing naked through a field. Yeah, give me the optimism. I'll sell into that instead. Much better. Now, my interest in semiconductors have gone from like passionate to like complete insouciance because SMH is at a lifetime high. As I said, my big wipeout yesterday was my SOXL puts, which are RIP, dead and buried. And I ain't touching that stuff. So for whatever reason, because they're, you know, like Nvidia, we'll see in a moment, it's not like it's at lifetime highs, but SOXL, SMH just blasting higher, well above the pattern here. What a fake out. Look at that beautiful breakdown. Then nope, boing, all the way up. Absolutely amazing how it undid months of grind just in the span of a few days. Nvidia, which is the big one in this, is actually still not at all good looking. We've been grinding around for, is it coming up on 10 months now within this pattern? It occurs to me, maybe it'll hear me better if I lift my microphone up some. And there we sit. We're in the middle. 10 months, grind, grind, grind. I still imagine it'll eventually break to the downside. But so far, hopium is keeping it up. And of course, most of these gains we've seen lately have been because the multiple contraction is undoing itself. It's not like we invaded Iran and suddenly earnings collapsed everywhere. It's just all about simple coefficients. And now that people are allowing tech stocks to have fat coefficients again, big PE ratios, then prices naturally are allowed to get bigger and bigger. But there's no actually fundamental data we've been basing any of this on. But happily, earnings season will kick in next week and start to heat up more and more as April winds on. Micron MU is also up over 3%. Not touching it. In fact, I'm kind of wondering if I have any semiconductor. Yeah, I'm short Nvidia, which is up 0.85%. That's one of the few things that's up today. That's about it. I'm not really touching anything else because, that stuff stings. Actually, no, I am short AMD a little bit, and maybe not for long. We are right up against the stop loss on this. There's the gap. And I've got a stop loss there, and if it crosses it, I'm out of there too. So AMD and Nvidia, that's it for me. But as I said, in spite of, at this very moment, ES is up 37 points, NQ's up 134 points, RTY is up 15 points, everything's green. But the shorts are coming through, which is what I try to do. Try to find special opportunities amongst all the weeds. Here's a few of them. These are items that I'm short and are just having a good day for some weird reason, and I could not care less what it is, but they're behaving themselves nicely. Here's DT, Dynatrace, I guess. See, I don't even know the name of the companies I'm short, but there's Dynatrace tumbling nicely, almost 8% below that beautiful topping pattern. So yay, DT. INFY, that is Infosys, ADR, it's down, but not as much, 2.5%. I'll take it. That'll do. Big gap failure right there. And a lot of overhead supply on that one as well. IoT, these tend to be kind of like small and techy, but that's not why I chose them. It's all about the chart. But IoT is taking nearly a 10% tumble. We'll drag that guy down. We got a nice new price gap today. Look at that. It's a little lower than that, isn't it? So that's falling nicely. So, this is just housekeeping, kind of get in there and tighten up the stops, trim where needed. Sometimes it falls so much, it's like, I'll take, a quarter off the table just to trim risk some. Hello, jumping rectangle. All right, let's put you back where you belong. This is NET, which is Cloudflare, NET. And this is a good example of, it's nice that it's falling. It's down about 10%. Yay, I'm short. It's an ugly chart. I mean, this is really misbehaving itself. It had been, it had pushed into the pattern and pushed into the pattern. And again, it keeps doing that. So it's an ugly, ugly mess. But and this is when I took profits on just because it is such a mess. I took partial profits on this, but anything that can go down 10% on a pure green day is a friend of mine. Palantir, which was a good performer yesterday, keep on keeping on here. Palantir's down almost 9% today. It fell nicely yesterday in spite of that historic rally we had to endure. Again, rather messy. This is not a clean setup. I mean, if I were to grade this pattern, I'd give it like a C- or so. But part of it's about relative behavior. The fact that it sunk yesterday in the midst of this eye-melting rally was great. Rocket Lab, RKLB, which, let's face it, anything with a rocket has probably 80% of the value of any company related to rockets or satellites is based upon SpaceX frenzy. Because SpaceX is slated to come public in a couple of months. They're talking about nearly a $2 trillion market cap, which to me is just bizarre. Because, if you buy an Apple or a Google when they first come public, and the company's worth $10 billion, $20 billion, $5 billion, you've got an opportunity to make generational wealth. If you buy a company that's valued at $2 trillion, maybe you'll double it over a decade or something. It's not going to go to $100 trillion. So kind of richly valued. And I think it'll be fascinating to see how the market receives it. And like a week later, where the thing is trading. And of course, there'll be tremendous chatter about the world's first trillionaire, Elon. But anyway, I'm short Rocket Lab. ALB. This is a prettier chart. I talked about C minus on the other. This one I'd give it A minus to. This is a nice pattern. We are banging out what looks like a head and shoulders top. It isn't complete yet, but it's acting properly. It's down about 2.5% right now. And of course, we want to see us slip below the bottom of the pattern. There is CRWD, CrowdStrike. Another one down about, a lot of things are down about 8% today or so. And that's great. And this one's a pretty clean pattern, pretty clean. Give it a B minus, C plus. So we had a nice red bar yesterday and a bigger one today. Here's a better known one, HPQ, Hewlett Packard, founded about 4 blocks in that direction on Addison Avenue. But HP is down 2.5%. I've noticed, I'm not showing it here today, but IBM also has been pretty weak lately. Here's a more obscure one, Omnicom, we've talked about. This is down also. Is everything down 2.5%? This is bizarre. Everything's down like 2.48%. Very strange. But this one has been one I've been holding on to for a couple of weeks. It continues to slip. This was a really nice one. I think I mentioned this one yesterday also. Salesforce, CRM. I had puts on this going into yesterday. I added to that, and it fell again. It's down 3.25%, down almost $6. Very good looking pattern up here. I actually took some profits on it because it's getting pretty deeply depressed, but that's probably a mistake because anything behaving like this in this environment probably has a lot longer to go to the downside. But that's Salesforce. Rubrik is also down hard, almost 12%, RBRK. So a lot of these SaaS companies, a lot of these newer internet software companies, I don't know how Roblox is doing, but Rubrik down hard. There's a whole theme around what used to be very hot sectors, and they're reversing away. And speaking of IPOs, by the way, the old saw about IPO, it's probably overpriced. That's still true. I mean, I was thumbing through some recent charts, that is to say, charts that don't have a lot of history to them. You don't have to look far to find stuff which basically hits a lifetime low every day. And that's in this insanely overvalued market we've got. I mean, like I said, this is not take a lot of cherry picking here. This was simple. Here's a few. Here's Figma, FIG. This is junk data, I think, by the way, just from some old security. So this is when they actually came out. So that's FIG, FIG. Here's GAMB, gambling.com. None of this is actionable. I'm just kind of making a point here. Here's GTM, another lifetime low. Monday, I talk about SaaS companies, so Monday's another good example. This is another lifetime low, down 4%. And then here's one a lot of you have heard of, StubHub. Lifetime low on this one. So you get the idea. A lot of these are down 50, 60, 70%. Lifetime lows virtually every day in a pure green environment. So, SpaceX is going to have a tremendous amount of institutional support when it comes out, but what it'll be like in 6 months, be very interesting to watch. So, just to wrap things up, here is the ES with its Fibonacci, which did a yeoman's job showing where support was, not so much a yeoman's job in resistance. We hit that bad boy and then poing right back up. So we're in the midst of this range between these two fib zones. And if for whatever reason things sell off hard again, that's what we're looking toward, the next level lower.